It may have taken several months and a very public falling out, but the US and Ukraine have finally signed their long-awaited minerals deal. The agreement will give Washington access to Kyiv's critical minerals and natural resources. Joining me now to talk about the significance of this is Stefan Wolff, Professor of International Security at the University of Birmingham. Professor Wolff, thank you for joining us. This is an historic deal. Is it a good one?
I think it is, certainly on the balance of the probabilities that we might not have gotten a deal at all, certainly as you mentioned after the very public falling out between Zelensky and Trump at the end of February in the White House. I think what's on offer now satisfies some of the key Ukrainian demands in terms of retaining sovereignty over their resources, having a balanced decision-making procedure in the actual fund governance arrangements, but also investing, certainly for the first 10 years, all of the proceeds from this fund into Ukraine's recovery. So all in all, I think Zelensky is walking away from this with actually quite a good deal in his pocket.
How significant was that meeting at the Vatican that has led to President Zelensky getting what appears to be a much better deal?
Well, I think the meeting at the Vatican probably clinched the deal between Trump and Zelensky. I mean, for me, the main issue was sort of the build-up to this. On the one hand, Trump clearly getting more and more frustrated with Putin and his delaying tactics in terms of dragging out any actual agreement on a ceasefire. And at the same time, quite a significant Ukrainian willingness to re-engage with the US, and especially Treasury Secretary Bessent on hammering out the details of the deal. The Ukrainians also signed up with a US-based law firm that helped them with some of the language. So I think all in all, there were several factors in the run-up to the meeting in the Vatican. And then the fact that Trump and Zelensky actually got along much better this time, I think that was really the clincher. And then they just pushed it across the finishing line in the last couple of days.
Is another potential factor the fact that President Trump and the White House have been dealing with an array of bad headlines over the past few weeks? He needed a win, and this appears to be a win.
Absolutely. I mean, it would not have been good for Trump if sort of one of his flagship projects that he repeatedly touted already on the campaign trail, that he would be able to finish the war between Russia and Ukraine within 24 hours, not having anything to show for his efforts by the time his second term turned 100 days. I think that would have been really bad. So I think there were significant incentives on the American side as well to get this sorted. But also I do think that the Ukrainians really felt under significant pressure to cut a deal so that it wouldn't be possible for Trump, certainly not easily, to blame Zelensky for his peace efforts falling apart.
The world watching this isn't really interested in what America and Ukraine do regarding minerals in Ukraine. They're interested in whether this deal brings an end to the war. Will it? How much closer are we to that, given this deal has been signed?
I don't think we are really that much closer even to a ceasefire. I mean, we have seen in the last couple of days that Putin is still playing hardball. I mean, he has now announced a temporary ceasefire again over the festivities to mark the 80th anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany in the Second World War. But at the same time, his foreign minister has gone on to American media, has given a long interview to a Brazilian media outlet, and basically reiterated some of the very, basically unacceptable conditions that Russia has tried to impose on Ukraine and has tried the Americans to back them up on, including recognition of Russian illegal occupation of Ukraine, or parts of Ukraine, and an absolute opposition to the idea of a European peacekeeping force in Ukraine. And I think as long as those two issues, and there are a couple of other more minor points of disagreement as well, as long as those are not sealed, we will not see even a ceasefire, and there's nothing much in the minerals deal, as far as is publicly known at this moment, that brings us any closer to the resolution of these issues.
Given that remarkably depressing assessment from your point of view, given your expertise, what might happen next? How might President Putin react?
That's always, I mean, that would be a terrible level of speculation if I try to give you an idea of what the thinking in the Kremlin might be.
Because we simply don't know whether that's the White House or the Kremlin. We're dealing with characters where they are completely unpredictable all of the time. That is the only certainty, that they act in an unpredictable way.
Absolutely. I think what the deal does, though, is it establishes a couple of very clear parameters. So as far as I understand from the information that is publicly available at the moment, the deal really is between Ukraine in its currently internationally recognized borders and the United States. So there's nothing in the deal that would suggest that the deal only covers those parts of Ukrainian territory currently controlled by the government in Kyiv. So from that perspective, that is not necessarily an explicit recognition of US support for the continued territorial integrity of Ukraine, but it certainly does not give anything away in terms of other discussions that we have had over the past week or so, that the US would actually recognize Russia's occupation of Crimea or of parts of Donbass.
Do you think today ordinary Ukrainians will feel more supported by this new American administration than they were in the last few weeks?
Absolutely. Again, I don't think that's necessarily the deal itself that does that, but a lot of the sort of noise around the deal. So, I mean, in his comments yesterday, Secretary Bessent, for example, emphasized that the deal really established very clearly the American commitment to the continued existence of a sovereign and independent Ukraine. So I think that is very important. There have been other comments from the administration and from the government in Kyiv that this might also include more deliveries of American air defense systems to Ukraine. So I think all of those are really positive signs, certainly compared to where we were a week ago, a month ago, let alone after this disastrous meeting in the White House at the end of February.
Professor Wolff, thank you very much for your thoughts and expertise on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.